Fire up the coals, bring the flavor. It's time to crown the King of the Grill. Maggie King of the Grill 2026 is calling you. Think you got the creativity, the skills, and the fire to rule the grill? This is the ultimate showdown for chefs, backyard masters, and the food lovers alike. Step up, show your talent, and claim your spot among the best. With over $5,000 in cash and prizes to be won, the stakes has never been hotter. Happening Saturday, May the 30th. Register now. Call or WhatsApp 407-8458. But hurry, registration close April the 30th. Don't wait. Bring your fire, bring your flavor, and bring your A game. Maggie, King of the Grill 2026, where champions are made on the grill.
Before the digital age, before the world moved at the speed of a click, there was a signal connecting a nation. In 1986, a journey in broadcasting began in Grenada, a journey that would grow into a trusted voice across the country. For 40 years, through radio and television, we've been there for the stories that shaped our nation, the news that mattered, the voices that informed us, the moments that brought us together. Your stories, your voices, your moments. The Grenada Broadcasting Network, 40 years strong. One nation, one network.
Special good morning to our listeners. Special good morning to our viewers. Welcome to today's edition of To The Point. It's Monday, the 11th day of May within the year 2026. Good morning to our listeners and viewers also via social media platforms. Good morning and welcome. Let me say good morning to Mr. Sylvan McIntyre, Mr. Richard McPhail. Good morning to you both. Welcome back. Should I say it? Can I say that?
Yeah, you're willing please to welcome us back.
Welcome back.
After last week. So good morning to you and good morning, Richard.
Good morning to your listeners and viewers as well.
All right.
Yes, and all those who support this program. And I say a very, very pleasant good morning to you. And my profound apology for not being available last week due to competing national engagements. And GT was left alone as he managed. And I heard the calling segments and I had the time to, and so forth. And people made some very useful contributions as usual.
Well, I certainly was pleased with that. Pleased with that also. Yes. So. No, it happens like that. I think my whole week last week was actually like that.
Yeah.
I had most of the whole of last week. I had basically the option of just having folks call in.
You enjoyed it?
Of the open
you enjoyed it, didn't you?
Well, it's all good. It's always good to converse with your listening audience. It's always that good. I think only guest I had popping in was the police on Thursday. Right. And, so it was all good. Mm-hmm. So nice to have you folks back. It's been an interesting weekend. All the moms, they of course, the mothers, I should say, they had. I hope they had an awesome day yesterday, and of course, those of you who got to spend time with your mother, certainly hope you made her felt happy, and enjoy. There are a lot of folks who don't have the privilege of that anymore, of having a mother around. Not that we don't have a mother, but we don't have her around anymore. True, she's gone to the great beyond. So I certainly hope you did make her feel really, really good.
Yeah.
All right.
So there are some folks that are, as you said, fortunate to have their mother around. I'm one of those who's unfortunate to don't have my mother around.
I certainly don't have my mother. All three of us.
Yeah. My mother passed at age 58. She didn't quite reach retirement age. She took in with a stroke, and not many days after she. But one of the lasting memory with me is, I think I said it before, even on open television, that my best day I spent with her, my best couple of days was the last day that she had. Actually, the last Mother's Day I spent with her was a glorious one, where we danced and we sang together, and people had to remind her that I was her son because she was dancing the whole time and everything. That was wonderful. And I regret that she wasn't there to see her grandchildren and all that, come to adulthood and these things. But a mother and a family member is a permanent fix.
So true.
Whenever they pass or something happen, they just would last forever with you.
Right.
So yeah, yesterday Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Related to all of those who did not get greetings from me, and the men who made the mothers feel special, the ladies feel special as well. Kudos.
Yep.
One of the things that I think we have to always recognize is guarding against the commercializing of conditions and areas, and forget the real essence and the reason why you do it.
That's so true.
Despite people say that you should appreciate and recognize people every day, but this special moment says something that you make the extra to go out and let somebody know that they are special. And every day just can't be the same. You need to show love, you need to show appreciation. Whenever you could go out and show the extra and say yes,
yes,
I think that means a lot.
Okay. I
agree. Yesterday was very emotional for me, and like your mom, my mother got a stroke, and 2 weeks later she was gone. Last day, if I knew it was her last Mother's Day, it would have been different. But we always say if.
Yeah.
I expect mine have been quiet too yesterday, reflecting. I mean, unlike yours, my mom didn't have a stroke or anything of the sort. Just felt a little not well one day. Brought her to a doctor. He said take her to the hospital for monitoring purposes. And 2 days after, that was it.
Oh man.
And I spoke to her an hour before she died, and and then went back to visit her the evening, and that was it. Simple, as easy as that. Yeah. We had a good conversation around 11 o'clock. Usually around 12, the doctors would come do their visits, so I had to leave.
Yes.
So I said, I'll come back by you at 3 o'clock. And when I got back 3 o'clock, that was it. Yeah,
man. When you can hold those,
with no major illness or anything, but it was kind of weird. It happened though.
Man,
it was kind of weird.
And there are some indelible, lasting impressions that sometimes mothers would leave on you, and they give you the blessings. I remember, I saw my mother just before she died. She was on the bed just mumbling. She couldn't speak, and then the only very audible words she said that what we actually heard clearly was she asked, "Where is Sylvan?" I held on to her, and when she asked where was I said, "Here am I. Is there something you want to say to me?" She said nothing else. That was really strong. And when I left, I got home. I think by the time I walked down the hospital steps, she was gone. But I live with that sense of resolve that my mother was happy to know that I was there, the last moment. I don't know how she felt about all of her other children. Yeah. But she asked for me, and I felt I got a special blessing.
All right.
But that's cool. And I'm really want to say for again. Ladies, mothers, we appreciate you, we love you. You are a special species of people. God created you and designed you specially, and I hope every man could show that appreciation to a female. And real men do not beat up
so true
on women.
So true.
And I have that as a part of a tagline for our foundation, that real men do not beat up on women. They love them, cherish them. They may do things that you're not happy with, but again, mothers are made of special material that nobody else in this whole life will endure. Yeah. So once again, Mother's Day, happy belated to everybody. God bless.
Any other flowers we dishing out this morning? Any other flowers we dishing out?
Yeah, we could dish out some more flowers, but I think there are sometimes some sad things. We had a young guy who died tragically yesterday. To the family, we extend our condolences to them as well. And then we want to give a little bit of flowers to the RGPF, I guess, in terms of their investigative processes, where unfortunately a teenager is brought before the court this morning for the, I would say, untimely death of this popular
comedian.
It's unfortunate. I mean, it's a bittersweet kind of a thing where she lived a very flaw-filled life, and somebody ended it in that kind of a way, and so on. Is regrettable.
To be quite honest, when I heard the morning that she died and was found dead, I thought it was natural causes. But kudos to the RGPF
for finding that. And in terms of the quest to come to justice and everything else, Neil and Franklin's case is on the coroner's inquest.
Yes,
and
hopefully some movement there.
The people that commit crime and so on, they need to be brought before justice.
Definitely.
And the whole aspect of even road situation that we speak about, and the deterrent for wanting to commit crime and so on, we really have to amplify that a bit more.
Yes.
And I continue to advocate that our law must be a strong deterrent for people who want to violate or intentionally violate. You see people, they just get angry. You're speaking to them and they carrying on and they still getting on. You speak to people about something and you see them doing it over and over, and you said, well, why do they not care?
It's like there's nothing to deter people. That's the impression I get. Even though there are laws out there, and we all both know. I mean, you've been part of the police force for a while.
Yes.
You know there are laws that are there to govern how people's behavior.
Yes.
But sometimes you get the impression in terms of individuals, how they behave.
Right.
It's like they care less about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You understand? And it's like, I know I could go to prison, so that's it. I will do what I do and just go to prison. And sometimes they come out and say that they had a merry time.
Yeah.
You hear that conversation from individual. I had a real good time in there. And I see sometimes I know of individuals who have gone through that process at least 10 times.
Yeah.
Oh, well, I know of more.
and yeah.
You know, for the same thing, not only the same crime, but just continue committing crimes and just like to go back in and come back out.
Yeah.
And you come back out, and is it the problem that rehabilitation is not strong enough?
Somebody says it's not really working. I don't know how true is that, but it's something that they.
But I know I had of course members from the prisons here already, and they talk about the rehabilitation process that they have. But is it that individuals are not participating, or what? Is it mandatory that they participate in these rehabilitation processes and so forth?
But remember, as a younger person growing up, I always used to hear sentencing being X amount of years with hard labor.
Right.
The labor part has dropped out, right?
The labor part has dropped out because of some human rights, whatever.
Yeah.
Some advocates will tell you that being incarcerated is part of a punishment. It's punishment in itself. Just being behind the walls, just losing your freedom is punishment. But I go back, and GT would want to be able to chime in a little bit on this as well. When there was the comments when the youngster was accused allegedly that he committed the crime, and people blame the family background and his family and all that. If you follow social media, you'll hear the comments, his family and so on, and the parent. And I heard the other side, like some parents say, why people would blame parents, because parents would train these people to grow up right, and then they choose their own way to do certain things. But I think it is still a balance between the two. There are some people who choose their own, despite what parents do to them, and there are some parents who still allow young people to do what they wish, and then they end up in some ways. So I think every situation when it happens, it is a responsibility on society, civil society and others, and the organized sector of our own communities to look deep down into root causes of situation. Even the young man that is alleged, would that be just him being go before trial, or otherwise proven guilty or not guilty, and that's the end of the process? Or would there be an in-depth look into his community life, his family life, his surrounding, his schooling and everything else, and what may have been contributing factors that would cause or want somebody and other people outside it to be driven to that?
Sometimes these factors there are always situations where we saw a situation of these things occurring before that sometimes society never paid attention to.
Right.
I always say that. I don't know, most people are doing something for the first time.
Right.
That's just my belief.
Right.
You know, we may have first time it's coming to that public light, as we would say, coming to the light publicly. But there's always instances where situation, especially how they go about doing whatever they did.
Yeah.
There's always something that preempted before that we have never paid attention to, or maybe have been kept in the dark for various reasons.
No, you're right.
You know?
And I think our community needs more community watchdogs in terms of people will tell you when something happened. It was only a matter of time before this happened.
It's
exactly what you're saying. Yeah. That there were some things that preceded that behavior that nobody actually intervened to say, look, they keep criticizing these young people and these old people and so on, and say it was only a matter of time. But how much did you do within that matter of time to have prevented a situation that ended up in that?
Yeah, this is time you see individuals walking and the conversation when they get upset. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And we think of it as just mere talk. They're talking.
Right.
And then when it comes around when they do commit these particular acts, And we said maybe the authorities could have intervened before.
Yeah.
And they never did. And then you see, get to that state. We not know what's going through individuals' minds. And sometimes a little bit of intervention could save somebody else's life.
Yeah. And then people speak about how we lose our young people and our regular people in society, because when they get incarcerated or you put them behind some controlled environment someplace, the other things that they might be exposed to, while there will be systems in place to kind of mitigate some wrong things that are likely to happen, but the exposure to other habits and other things from people, how they become hardened other criminals in a stronger sense. Some people may have gone and they may have been a first-time offender, otherwise maybe unintentionally, otherwise they may have ended up with a situation.
No, they get influenced some others.
And then when they get in there, sometimes because they're not getting that kind of a help, that counseling intervention, they may feel, you know what, that's the end of me. I cannot be anybody that is good anymore. Technically, I'm a criminal or otherwise. You listen to the others, they may spend some time, might be for a short-term offense, but you just figure, because everybody left them up, they just continue along that. That's, I think it hinges on what you said. People been inside there, they come back out, they do stuff again, and they figure, well, that's where my home belongs. Yeah. That's my home.
Because they come back out, and then you see, it always comes back to how society accepts you after these instances from time to time. Especially from that first offense, you come back out, well, Sylvan is a criminal, you've been to jail. You understand? That's something the feeling you get. And it changes your whole mindset in terms of your whole behavioral pattern right now.
Yes.
So then you say, well, they think I'm a criminal, so I'm going to come back. I'm going to continue committing crimes.
But one of the things that we would, and I would support very, very strongly, is that sex offender registry and all of that.
Yes.
And to be able for people to identify repeat persons, especially, not to discriminate against them, because they are obviously humans and they have human rights that should be observed. But I think there are certain scourges that we have in our society that are more prevalent than others.
They need to be monitored.
We have to take stronger measures.
But the thing about it is, every time you have offenses committed, there's a hue and cry, and a hype about the registry.
And 7 or 8 days later, it gets cold.
It happens again. I mean, similar, look at a couple of situations we had when the year started. And there's a boil down to that whole conversation now.
Well, the last program we had, we spoke about that. Do you remember? About the domestic violence issue?
So we're not going to let this conversation dominate our whole morning.
Of course not.
We due for a break. Let's take it. And when we come back, we get into our main conversation. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back. Don't touch it down.
The Ministry of Agriculture White Potato Production Initiative is an OECS sub-regional project aimed at reducing Grenada's reliance on imported white potatoes, which in 2025 had an imported value of over 4.5 million EC dollars. The White Potato Production Initiative is part of the Ministry of Agriculture's food security drive and is being undertaken with the simultaneous cultivation of other crops such as sweet potatoes, pineapples, coconuts, carrots, and other vegetables. Other OECS countries like Dominica and St. Vincent and the Grenadines are already at an advanced stage in white potato production, with Dominica completely cutting the import of white potatoes during the first quarter of 2026. Grenada is now preparing to advance production for better output in 2027. The Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Forestry, ensuring food and nutrition security for all.
At 5 p.m. on August 5th, 1944, the schooner Island Queen sailed out of the St. George's Harbor. On board were some of Grenada's brightest and best sons and daughters. What happened afterwards remains a mystery.
Where Island Queen gone?
Heritage Theatre Company presents Lucy's Straw Hat, a full-length drama written and directed by Chris DeRiggs, a moving story about a family caught up in the drama of this great mystery. Meet Mammy Sylvie, a woman with a secret too heavy to keep but too painful to reveal.
I'm asking for forgiveness for not telling you the truth.
Pa John, the war veteran.
Sometimes I sit here feeling so helpless, so crushed.
Hyacinth, always ready to do mischief.
You don't see the woman Uncle Norris married. She face ugly enough to turn milk.
Lucy, beautiful and headstrong.
I had a dream, Mommy, that Hyacinth was there. holding my hand.
Lucy's Straw Hat at Grenada Trade Center on Saturday 13th and Sunday 14th June, and at the Luke Cinema on Saturday 20th and Sunday 21st June. All shows 7 p.m. Advance tickets $60, $75 at the door. Come join us.
Where Island Queen gone?
Life doesn't stand still. It moves. It grows. It asks you to believe in what's next. Your first car. Owning your home. The business you build. The future you choose to invest in. Life moves in steps. When you're ready to take the next one, we're here to help you move forward with banking solutions designed for life. From vehicle financing and mortgages to education savings, credit solutions, and support for your growing business. Republic Bank, ready for life, every step.
Welcome back to our listeners. Welcome back to our viewers once again. It's To The Point, Classic Radio GBN TV. My apology if I sound a little bit weird. I think a flu is kind of
different.
Since Friday, a flu's trying to grab me. I'm working on it a whole lot. Hasn't totally taken over, but still has the voice a little. What do you say? A little gravelly.
Yeah, gravelly, groggy, stroky. Yeah.
Not as smooth as it used to. So my apology for the way I sound. So once again, gentlemen, welcome back. Our focus conversation this morning, we want to talk about the motoring and, of course, pedestrians. We want to talk about that. Yeah. And in terms of, I was given a note here, we want to talk about, what was it again, Mr. McIntyre?
Enhancing
the motorway for motoring and pedestrians. Access. Mm-hmm. So we talk. Let's start it off with pedestrians. They play a critical role in terms of enhancing the roadways. And we could start by talking about pedestrian cross. Yeah. I mean, it's not a first-time conversation for us on
Absolutely not.
But enhancing it seems a lot no because of the way the traffic situation seems to be in Grenada.
Yes.
From time to time, we see those pedestrian cross, even the sidewalks and stuff have been used for other purposes that has been intended for.
Yes.
We see the fading of pedestrian cross, those markings on the road, they fade and for a lengthy period of time before they are replaced.
Yeah.
You understand? Because sometimes folks now decide, well, I'm not going to use it because it's not. I'm getting the feeling that's how they're thinking. Because it's not painted, I'm going to go a little further up, or a little further down because it's not painted anymore. The importance of this for the authority to continue keeping them enhanced, keeping those markings alive, for easy way of saying it. Yes. Let's start it off with pedestrians this morning.
Right. So this conversation is generated or driven by obviously observations from the wider community and some things from us as a foundation to try to highlight and to get some sense of direction and some sense of urgency. But in part of our analysis of the situation, in coming up with the theme, enhancing the motor and pedestrian access ways, what we found is that there is not sufficient sense of urgency and in terms of prioritizing those areas. You may see something has deteriorated, some signs may be peeled off, it stays down for a long time, peeled off. You may see a drooping sign, and some pictures probably will take off some of those, and they would take quite a while before they are brought up. You mentioned fading pedestrian crossings and so on, and those across country seems to be the greater of the apparent neglect or the inability to address those things, or the lack of sense of urgency to deal with them. And I speak of how we prioritize them. And one good citizen who is very observant in some of the things brought to my attention, and there's a lady as well who spoke to me on the whole issue of the pedestrian crossings. In some cases they call them the zebra crossings. And you listen to the motoring public quite to a large extent, and some of the people who are walking. And somebody called me and they said, if there is an accident in an area where there was supposed to have been a pedestrian crossing, it had eroded over a period of time, or some construction work took place, and it was not replaced, and a motorist strikes somebody walking across it, who is in the wrong? Is it the motorist or is it the pedestrian? What say you guys on it? I was facing it. I gave my take on it. So it was supposed to have been a known pedestrian crossing. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, some construction may have taken place there, and it was not repainted when the work was finished. Okay. And so people may have known, whether know or not, that it is supposed to be a pedestrian cross. So the person would go crossing. And this motorist, this driver now coming across in a vehicle, not having a marked pedestrian cross, continues to drive and knock that person up.
Well, I would say it depends on the circumstances.
Okay.
A driver should always be driving with due care and attention.
Proper.
Right?
Stuff, yes.
So you always have to be looking out for folks wanting to cross the street.
Yes.
You should be always having that attention there.
Right.
Even if a pedestrian is marked or not.
Yes.
People do take chances.
Right.
Yeah. There are areas where there are no pedestrian crosses at all.
Right.
And people will try to cross the road anyway.
Yes, they would. But what would they do, or what should they do in such a case then?
You understand? What you say, the individual?
Yeah, the individual.
Well, you should draw to the attention of the driver. I'm assuming that you want to cross. Mm-hmm. If the driver wants to give you the opportunity to cross.
Yeah.
There are sometimes drivers just don't give you the opportunity to cross, even though you've asked them to slow down or whatever for various reasons. They may just not want to stop.
Right.
I understand. So I would say you may have to make sure you have the attention of their driver, and the driver comes back again having that due care and attention while he's driving along on the nation's road.
So what about me as a pedestrian would say he's supposed to know that if a pedestrian cross there and a crossing?
Right. So you as a driver may have noticed one day a couple of years ago, or months ago.
Yeah,
as you said, construction, there are road repairs, all kind of things taking place now. They may have resurfaced the road and didn't put it back.
Yes.
But the pedestrian may have known well that the pedestrian cross there. All right.
And he
decides to go across.
Yes.
As I said, is there circumstances for that now?
I tell you smiling.
Yeah, because you have to, as a pedestrian, you first have to wait.
Yes.
For the vehicle to
be acknowledged that you want.
So what you guys are actually doing is teaching us, telling us exactly the right way, which I'm trying to get out of a driver approaching a pedestrian cross and a pedestrian crossing a pedestrian cross.
Just walking across.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So that's the first thing. You connect with the driver before trying to cross.
Yes.
Yes.
And if while you're crossing, the driver still continues coming, that's a different story.
Okay.
That's where the circumstances plays out there now.
Driving to due care and attention?
Yes.
Okay. Good. So is that applicable for other areas where there is no pedestrian has ever been there, but somebody just decides that they want to cross the street?
Well, it should apply to that also, because once a pedestrian wants to cross, we know there's not a designated pedestrian cross.
Yes. Right.
But he signals to the approaching vehicle, maybe whatever, he waves or he puts his hands out or whatever, and he wants to cross. The driver should acknowledge.
Right. So this is exactly the foundation against which we are going in terms of teaching people how to actually approach a pedestrian cross the pedestrian cross, and how drivers themselves should approach pedestrian crossing. So I'll say this against the backdrop that we as from the Safer Foundation, we are working on getting some videos and so on. Okay. Some of our regular known theater companies and so on, and actors, to produce some videos again. We know we do have some by some other people sponsored, but we want to create some from our own foundation point of view to re-educate or reiterate or to punctuate and amplify a bit more the proper procedure in people accessing and crossing those pedestrian cross, because we believe that we're seeing a lot of those inconsistencies too often. Yeah. And I also believe then that a stronger effort should be made to address those issues, including what we spoke about, the decorum and the courtesy of drivers on streets. We believe that we should strongly institutionalize through our educational institution, for instance, the TAMCC.
Yes.
I think that is the key ground in which it should be part of the education system in preparing people for society in general, not just preparing people to act, to be workers, but I think because from an institution as established and organized as the TAMCC, the driving approved age people comes from immediately from that
within
system.
that pool. Yeah.
Within that pool.
Yeah.
And the anxiety then for them to get a license and get on the road is right there. And so I believe it would be more open, they would be more receptive if it becomes a formal part of that institution. Whether it is from our foundation itself, which is what we're trying to do, or the police in some instance, or the we know we have a traffic and transport board. Now, whether we can collectively form a curriculum that doesn't have to take a lot of information, but just has to be continuous, targeting those exiting students, second year basically, and those who've gone third year but wanting to come out, or just once you be attaining the age of 18.
And maybe Form 5s in general.
And Form 5s in some schools.
But is it that individuals who commit these acts, especially drivers who don't wants to stop on a pedestrian crossing, who does not acknowledge a pedestrian wanting to cross, is it that they just don't care, or they just don't remember that is the proper procedure that they're supposed to follow? Is it that folks just don't remember that's a procedure? Or is it that we know, as you mentioned, information is because of the lack of it and the lack of reminder pertaining to wanting to the procedure that you should follow when individuals wants to cross roads? Is it just because they just don't pay attention to this information anymore after they may have gotten their license?
You wanted to say something on that? I have my own take, but go ahead.
Sometimes. Well, it's something that we would have gone through already, right? Where you study to pass the exam.
Right.
And after you pass the exam, all hell breaks loose.
So then you're only studying to drive now?
You're studying to,
Yeah, but I also believe that there are other contributing factors that creates that complacency. We mentioned the deterrent of penalties.
Right.
And I would hope one of these mornings we would have the police with us, I guess. I think we mentioned that, wanting to get them on this program. We would have the list of traffic penalties and look at them, because it's something that we want to look at through the foundation and make recommendation for penalty and so forth, how they could
the merit points.
Yes. And I believe particular, for instance, with the Drug Enforcement Act, people within a particular zone of schools, etc., the penalties are stronger for them as if they were found with it outside of that 100 yards, etc., within the school zones. The fines are extremely high, and I believe we can kind of a drive if we want certain aspects of the Traffic Act and road regulations to be enforced more stringently. I believe that we should look at the penalties. So, for instance, approaching a pedestrian cross, and we mentioned again in our previous programs having those penalties again increased for school zones, and having those school zones very conspicuously marked in good distance and so on, and having those penalties very much stronger in those areas, so that it is written up. And this is why the program or focus area is enhancing the motoring and pedestrian access ways. So signs that says the penalties, etc., and that gives information as to how you should conduct on the road. We believe that those are some things that we should push a bit more. And from this end, we'll be looking as a foundation for contribution from members of the public.
Yes.
Including their own ideas and your finances and resources. We want to do the production, and GT, you're going to give the account number later on.
I'm going to mention that.
Mention that later on.
Yes.
So what we want to do is to be able to invite people to contribute material, maybe monies and so on, that will help design some signs. And obviously we're doing that in concert collaboration and with permission from the Ministry of Transport Board and the police, obviously, to be able to set up those road signs. But we need to be able to produce them. And we want to be able to make a national contribution. And we want to allow and give people opportunity to contribute toward that aspect of road safety. And one of the soaring areas is the painting of the pedestrian crossings and the zebra crossings that people are speaking about so much. I've heard before that the quality of the paint and the access to the paint seems to be in limited quantities across and availability. So I think this is something I'm throwing out, and I would require feedback from members of the public. We want to take as a foundation shared responsibility with the national entities to help enhance pedestrian crossings. So what we want people to do is to contribute towards the fund that they can tell us the source of getting the material, they can source them and have it stored with us, and our intention is to have satellite groups across Grenada, so there is an AmSafer rep in every parish. And so when we need to enhance those pedestrian crossings, we would work with the police from those particular areas, work with those other groups, and on particular days we would come out. So the areas will be zoned.
Yeah.
We will highlight and identify exactly how many pedestrian crossings are there in the area of St. Andrews and so on. So the entire St. Andrew, whether we do by constituencies or by parish itself or groupings, we'll be able to tell you in a matter of weeks how many pedestrian crossings are there across Grenada and what groups will be assigned to that. So when some markings are taking place, we don't have to leave St. George and go up to St. Andrews. There's a group up there that would do it.
Able to take care of
they would be resourced with the material, the brushes, the material and so on. All they'll be required to do is to go out and ensure that it is done. I believe that will help greatly. They can tell us how they're sourcing those paints and otherwise, or they can source it and give it, but we don't want to rely only on the state coffers to access it. I think corporate Grenada would want to be able to contribute to that process and to ensure that it is entrusted with a credible entity as our foundation to be able to deliver on that, and people willing to contribute.
Yeah. Because I just was thinking along the same lines. I was thinking businesses can partner with, of course, the McPhail Foundation. Partner, as we see certain businesses has partnered with government and so forth in terms of the bus stops.
Yes,
and they sponsor that particular bus buses stop. Now, what about if you think about the idea of a particular business help in terms of partnering with the McPhail to put up signs and to help improve the pedestrian crossing and so forth? You understand?
Yes.
Where it make it much easier for, especially having the appropriate painting that's supposed to be used.
Yes, the right kind of painting.
Helping to develop the markings on certain parts of the roads that will certainly help to make it more visible for drivers to know that, well, this is used for crossing. But for me, we miss in terms of speaking about a whole lot. The sidewalk is still something that is left. A lot of it is left unattended to.
Okay. Yes.
You know, we spoke a whole lot about the pedestrian cross and so forth. That is having a level of importance.
Yes.
But there are a lot of areas where sidewalks are just forgotten a whole lot, where folks now have to use the roads to walk in.
Yes.
I had a call last week talking about that, the same thing. That the sidewalks is no more available to her.
Right.
You know, she's been talking about the tongue of St. George. We all have noticed it. Where small businesses has popped up and using it. We saw something have been done by the police over time to try to get them off.
But it's not consistent.
And the inconsistency of it.
The police come out in waves at a certain time.
They do it.
They sweep it and then it goes back.
Have you noticed the Melville Street area now have come back in a dilapidated condition from that when you're walking from the path of the fish market going up, everybody going up to the stadium direction. That has turned into another dilapidated situation. You know, I walk early mornings and I look at it and say that'll become very dilapidated once again. A few years ago it was cleared up nicely. Now all tents and crates and stuff have been put back, and you know, some folks have put up permanent structures to a point now. You understand? I think these things need to be looked into. We already have in not enough adequate walking for pedestrians to walk in that area. Now, with these structures being put up, if someone has to walk, they have to walk in the road.
Yeah.
You understand? And I think the authority is supposed to put back some of that, or get some other place that these individuals can do their vending.
Yeah.
You understand?
So, I find it difficult that over the years we cannot find a mechanism of continuing monitoring and evaluating situations and conditions of that nature. Whether do we need a local government situation where you have mayors and these kind of things that they had in the past? I mean, I recently visited some areas in Jamaica and they still have that system of local government where they have mayors and councils and all these people responsible. So not just the politician, but you have people who have responsibility for ensuring these things do happen. And I think we are not lacking systems and so on, and in some cases resources. I think our inability to to enforce the instruments of law and procedure is where we are falling down, and we allow things to fester for too long before we get into it. So, for instance, we spoke of that strip of road, the Morris Bishop Highway.
Yeah.
That has been identified. Through clamor and advocacy, we've seen some signs now gone up in terms of the miles per hour speed limit.
Yeah.
We see them at both entrances, I think, from the Sugar Mill end and from True Blue end. They're written up. But definitely there are some more signs we're going to get permission, ask permission to put along that. We need to see some more signs across country. But a very soaring thing that you will not hear us staying silent about is that overpass. I mean, think about it. There are many persons who lost their lives on that road. It's over 3 years almost. It's just over 3 years. We've been clamoring for that. There was a seeming initiative where it was announced that process was going to happen, that some aspects of that overpass was on island and construction was going to start soon. Within that period of time, I know we had lost at least one more person. Life was lost since then. Yeah. But quite a number of other persons have had accidents or people got hit on that very said roadway. We still have a policeman that is being paid to stand up and get people across the street. That is money, in my opinion, that could go elsewhere, and that policeman could be assigned to other duties. If we count up the amount of hours that he spends there and balance it, it may come up to the cost of.
Actually, it's not one, two.
Maybe two.
There's one around my Ramdani area.
Right.
And then one in the Callis Junction.
To the school.
Yes.
Right. Oh, don't you Callis Junction right now?
Junction.
Okay. But, I mean, so think about it. How much it costs per hour to keep one of those cops in those areas? And outside of that, are they able to be there and prevent the things from happening? Maybe not. They don't be there at nights and at a particular time when people are exposed. So I'm saying we need to move a bit more expeditious on those processes that are important. We need to show a greater sense of urgency for things, in my opinion. I think a lot of people's opinion that are very, very important. Yeah. I've seen people, I've done it many times, stop on that strip of road, in the middle of the road, put my hazard light on to allow people to cross in front of my vehicle.
I have done it.
Because they want to cross. And this is in itself something that is yearning, speaking without a mouth, to say that we need some help in that area. So how can we get it done? You know, to be honest, if we had the resources, the money which we probably will have in the not too distant future, we would start with permission, obviously, to set something up and contribute to whether it's the state entity in ensuring that, because people would agree that is necessary for us to happen, and we cannot rest.
There's a level of urgency for it to be done, you know.
You think so?
I mean, there is a level of urgency for it to be done.
But what's the whole back?
But I'm not for it. But I mean, there are monies that are spent for a lot of other things that I think doesn't have a level of urgency when we see happening.
Okay,
you understand. But for that per se, I think it could have been done for the time factor in which we understand those overpass was on island and stuff like that. It should have been done.
I know at one time there was an excuse given that because of the pipes.
Would you say an excuse or a reason?
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Yeah, thanks for your correction. A reason.
Yes.
The pipes being laid now, and the proposed resurfacing of the road from the airport.
Yes.
That's why it's not done as yet.
Okay. Well, that was one of the reasons, Kev.
Yeah.
But we shut it down bigly. We didn't in that local ward. That we don't believe could have been, because we think then that if proper planning and processing takes place, that would not affect it in any way.
Last couple of pictures I saw of them, they were in a part of other parts of the island. I did saw some pictures related to that.
To what?
To
the overpass. There was another part of the island.
They're going to put it on?
No, they're not put up, but they were just stored in another part of it.
Yeah. I didn't even see that. So it's actually here. It's here.
They are here.
So why
they just have it stored in another part of the island?
So why is another part of the island and it can't be in the place where we think?
Well, I guess I'm assuming also that it's for storage purposes. Maybe they could not accommodate it within the town of St. George, within the parish of St. George for now. So
it's within the parish. It's within the parish.
Not in St. George. It's in another parish.
Oh, it's moved again?
It's been moved to another parish. I actually saw some photos of it.
Okay.
Within another parish. We drew for a break. Let's take it. When we come back in this segment, we drew for that break. Let's take it. We'll be right back. Don't touch it out, folks. Stay with us. Don't touch it out.
Our people know you don't build a future in one day. We build it.
Fire up the coals, bring the flavor. It's time to crown the King of the Grill. Maggie King of the Grill 2026 is calling you. Think you got the creativity, the skills, and the fire to rule the grill? This is the ultimate showdown for chefs, backyard masters, and the food lovers alike. Step up, show your talent, and claim your spot among the best. With over $5,000 in cash and prizes to be won, the stakes has never been hotter. Happening Saturday, May the 30th. Register now. Call or WhatsApp 407-8458. But hurry, registration close April the 30th. Don't wait. Bring your fire, bring your flavor, and bring your A game. Maggie, King of the Grill 2026, where champions are made on the grill.
Grenada, get ready for the grand finale of the athletic season. The Whitsuntide Games 2026 take over the Kirani James Athletic Stadium on Saturday 23rd and Sunday 24th May from 9 a.m. daily. Witness 2 days of electrifying track and field action as top athletes from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Trinidad and Tobago, Antigua, St. Lucia, Guyana, and more go head to head with Grenada's finest speed, strength, and regional rivalry once more, all in one place. Admission, finish line, $30, main stand, $20, VIP, $150 for 1 day, and $200 for 2 days. Don't miss the final local athletic meet of the season. Be there for the Whitsuntide Games 2026 as the season ends with a bang.
The Ministry of Agriculture White Potato Production Initiative is an OECS sub-regional project aimed at reducing Grenada's reliance on imported white potatoes, which in 2025 had an imported value of over 4.5 million EC dollars. The White Potato Production Initiative is part of the Ministry of Agriculture's food security drive and is being undertaken with the simultaneous cultivation of other crops such as sweet potatoes, pineapples, coconuts, carrots, and other vegetables. Other OECS countries like Dominica and St. Vincent and the Grenadines are already at an advanced stage in white potato production, with Dominica completely cutting the import of white potatoes during the first quarter of 2026. Grenada is now preparing to advance production for better output in 2027. The Ministry of Agriculture, Lands and Forestry, ensuring food and nutrition security for all.
Welcome back, listeners. Welcome back to our viewers. Welcome back, gentlemen. Welcome back. Welcome back. Interesting conversation all morning. We have approximately 10 more minutes left on today's edition. I'll give the public the opportunity to chime in.
Yes,
basically, what we've been talking about this morning. Folks may have varied reasons why someone we say may not be appropriate or inappropriate.
Yes.
You could chime in on that. You have double options of calling in 435-2041. Both the landline and the WhatsApp are up and functioning.
And before the first caller come in, I just don't want to lose this in terms of St. Andrew.
Yeah.
You know the traffic light you have on Paradise Bridge?
Yes.
If you drive there at night, the walk-in area is really dark.
Yeah.
And if the lights come on from either end, green or otherwise, it even gives you a dazzle as a driver. It throws that glare into your eye. So I am suggesting that they should look at putting spotlights like the regular street lights in those areas, so that even people who are walking, that to walk between the two sides of the bridge, that could be lit a bit. It's really it's dark, and the traffic light itself doesn't light the area. It just comes on green or red. I think that's an area that they need two at least. Okay.
We do have a caller, our first caller. Caller, good morning, you're live. Welcome via WhatsApp.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
I like the initiative that Mr. McIntyre brought about concerning the collaborating of the painting of the pedestrian crossing. One of the things I've noticed over the years, I don't know if that could be a major part of it, to the quality of the paint. I notice that most time when they paint, the paint don't last very long. So I think they need to look into that too, the quality of paint. And also how they are talking about the spacing or challenge with sidewalks. When I look at St. George's, I look at the Market Square. There's a very large area there. I was wondering for many years if they could not have decked that area and they could put what you call, maybe put 1, 2, or 3 floor. And they could have spaces for the vendors, even we could have spaces for vehicles. So that is something I think the authority can look into. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you, caller. Thank you so much.
That's a splendid idea, and I had a conversation in the past about designing that space to accommodate the road from up on Grenville Street to come across that people could access that. And I have seen St. Vincent's Market. There's a similar setting. They have a 1, 2, 3 story level. That's really good.
We do have another caller. Caller live. Good morning. Welcome.
Hello.
Good morning. Go right ahead, please, caller.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. McIntyre, how do you plan to address the parking situation around the nation's road and so, creating a lot of problems for driving? Some places the vehicles are parked in very narrow areas. In some cases they are parked around corners. And we can see that we have a few accidents, well enough already, that is due to the parking situation. Are you thinking of addressing this in any way with the relevant authority?
That the answer is a straight up yes, because I've personally seen that myself. And in our next proposed engagement, that's one of the things that we want to raise. But it's strongly identified that enforcing of the law where that is concerned, because the law is very specific as to some place people can stop and places people can park.
Yeah.
And we think that, as GT was saying this morning, I don't want to say we're lawless, but we do not pay keen attention to aspect of the law, and we're not penalized sufficiently for it.
Yeah. So of course, folks continue to do as they like. Yes. Let's have another. We do have another call. Caller live. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Mr. McIntyre and GT.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Richard is here too.
Yes. What I would like to see happen, Mr. McIntyre, they should put, when the road is completely finished, and they do the road, put back bus stops and make the drivers use bus stops. There is too much traffic on the road now for what they're stopping anyway, anytime. It's too much traffic for that now. And they should have something that they could charge the driver and the passenger and the conductor. I mean, it's trying to get them to stop on the stops. That's why they're going to do that, to charge them to use the stops, because they're doing too much stupidness now, you know. We don't have the road for all the stupidness they're doing. They're holding up a whole traffic because they don't want another bus to pass. You understand? So I hope something sort of would happen, like they call it, I don't know what the name they call it, but charge driver, passenger, and conductor. So they want to go on the bus stop and make people know that they have to start using bus stop. Because when they leave and they go in America, they go in England, and you have to run to meet a train before it goes. You have to do it. You have to run to meet a bus. You have to do it. So teach them now to do those things for when they start traveling. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. You know, the caller is right. Huh?
Very useful contribution, but
it's useful. Because, there are folks feel if I just walk out of my house, I should supposed to stand there and wait for a bus.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'm subject to correction anyway. I think that aspect of the law is already there,
but it's just not being enforced.
Where the conductor and passengers could be charged for accessing a bus in a place where you should not be.
But
I could revisit that, but my recollection is that has been raised up before. I think that it is there, but however, not enforced. I could research it or have the police give us a response.
You're correct about that. There was some years ago when there was a little bit of enforcement process to started with it, and then it just fell apart for various reasons. Where they were telling passengers that you're supposed to wait on a bus stop for a bus, and buses are supposed to drop folks and pick up only on bus stops.
Yes.
We do have another caller. Caller live. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Richie, and morning to your guests.
Good morning.
Morning.
Just two simple suggestions. One is that I think it requires of people in various professions to go and have upgrades, every now and then, refresh and so on. I think every driver in Grenada should be required to do some kind of upgrade. That's one. And maybe if it's a week or so, getting and refreshing them, because the responsibility on the road right now is different than when some of the drivers started. You have to have much more, much more responsible for before with a few vehicles, That requirement was not so much. I hope I'm being understood for that one. The second one is when vehicles lose the brakes and so on. Is it sufficient for a driver to say, well, a driver and the brakes just go, or that driver be held responsible for not maintaining the vehicle properly? Thank you. I know there's accidents. We can't avoid certain accidents. But it seems to me a number of accidents have happened in the past and probably could have avoided. Thank you.
Thank you, caller.
Yes, sir. With regards to the last part of your concern or query, when an accident occurs, part of the police investigative process to also have a mechanic check even the braking system, and they would give you a report as to whether the braking system was intact or whether it was deficient at the time of the accident. So that is part of the process. As we say again, maybe a deeper look into whether those processes have been followed. We should look at that.
In terms of the maintenance aspect of your vehicle.
How you go about that.
Okay, folks, they just maybe have that checked before the inspection process. After that, they don't bother with it after again. Was it coming down the Maras Hill? Was it on Friday? I saw a truck around it and a lack of brakes.
Yeah.
You understand? Could have been a major accident occurring there also.
Yes.
Simply there was nothing coming at the time, so he just ran into the rails. So imagine if another vehicle was approaching at the time. Could have been something devastating. Caller live. Good morning. Welcome.
Yes, GT.
Good morning.
St. John Street, from Melville Street to St. John Street, there is no walkway there, no pavement, and there's all the vehicles coming in every time you go to town. I can't walk that street at all because there's no way to walk. They don't have pavement there. Why can't the vehicles just stop parking on top of the pavement and the little parts where they have, fix it so people could get a pavement to stand up on for these vehicles to go? But now you have to walk with them and they're actually rushing you. From Melville to St. John. That's the street they like, St. John Street. From Melville Street, they're coming through. You can't walk on the side because there is no pavement there. No side is pavement. And I'm a very person to walk there because I'm of age walking with my stick. So let them do something about that walkway there, okay?
All right, thank you. Thank you so much. We do have another caller via WhatsApp. Good morning, you're live.
Good morning, GT.
Good morning.
Your guests and the listeners. Parking on sidewalks. I think the police have to be more consistent to maintain the law because, especially on the Southern Main Road, which is and the Morris Bishop Highway is a very, very, very busy road. And vehicles are being parked on the sidewalk, causing pedestrian out of the Sylvan to the oncoming traffic. And there's a particular case in Point, along by Captain Harris. There's a green convertible. It usually parks there on mornings. Or in the day, you find a lot of persons doing exercises, and they have to serve onto the pavement. I think the police need to do something about it. There is another vehicle on Sunday morning, on weekends. He parks on the Glen Valley Road. A black vehicle, causing a lot of obstruction, especially like on Sundays when people have to go to church, And every Sunday, that vehicle is parked there. During the week, it's not there. But on a Sunday, maybe as he wakes, he parks his vehicle there, and that will stay there for the day. I need to, Mr. McIntyre, how do you make a statement about constituencies and so on? Now, in the roads is district, right? I don't know if it was deliberately designed that way, structured that way, so as to not get tied up in with politics. Roads you deal with districts, not constituency. For instance, on the Springs Calvin Road, that's in the Southern District here, but you have the Southeast on the left side. So it really cannot be constituencies, right? In the laws, it's districts. So I think you need to pay a little more attention to it, please.
Thank you.
Thank you, caller. Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that a whole lot. We do have another caller.
The last one?
Yeah. Caller, you're live. Good morning. Welcome.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Yeah. Similar to what the previous caller was just talking about is how people, motor drivers are using the public road for the private park all over the country. And I think it's time that the authorities stop this. Even in little areas where they widen the road a little to create a little more free movement of traffic, people use it to park the vehicle in roads that are supposed to be two ways. Sometimes you have to almost come out of your vehicle and walk and peep to see if anything come in, and then run back quick and drive before you something come and block you. If I go to make mention of these areas, it will take hours because it's all over the country, from Montu in St. George's to Montreach in St. Patrick's, all over. And time the authorities take some stiff action. When people build a house, they should have a driveway or access to put the vehicle, and it becomes so accepted. People figure they have a right to just park on the public road. They're washing down the vehicle, they're cleaning on the vehicle on the public road, and you can't pass close to them. Even people who have a mechanic shop, all over, people is using the public road. There's a place just after Redgate, the road is slipping, but people have it there as a mechanic shop on the public road. Sometimes I wonder if the politicians and the police, they don't pass on this road and see these things going on. So it's so reckless and lawless of our people to be doing these things. So I want to hear your feedback and what is plans or actions to deal with this nonsense.
Thank you, caller. Thank you.
So as the caller just said, if he was to highlight all these issues, it will take him a long time, a few hours. If we're going to address them as well, it will take us hours. But what I can assure you is that your points have been heard by us, and other people are taking notes of your points, including the police. And I'm hoping that the Works Department and so forth, Traffic and Transport, that also the Transport Board, they are also paying some attention to that. But what we want is to be given the assurance that your concerns, our concerns, are being heard, and actions have been driven towards it. Since this program started, we can point out some very tangible results of our intervention and advocacy that we've done. Before we end the program, though, or in our next edition, hopefully, we will be looking at a possible continuation of enhancing our road space and access to pedestrians. We want to just put on record our commendation for what we see happening on the cliff and on the Woodlands Junction with the roundabout, etc. that's happening. We wish to see some more enhancement across country, and we will appealing to the motoring and pedestrian public to support and adhere to those signage that have been posted, and the drivers that adhere similarly. The concern as well for that massive Republic roundabout next to the gas station and sugar mill, etc. We believe that some enhancement should be done to that area. We don't know how deep that is in consideration. There's a conversation about it, but we believe as the traffic becomes strong stronger that there should be some lanes marked up in those areas and some directions in terms of white markings on the street. I've seen in Aruba where they elevate some of those markings hardened the concrete so that if you veer over, you know that you're going over.
Okay.
And we also believe that it is time to review the access to the Republic Bank and the exit. I believe personally that the exit, they should revisit that. It should be, the entrance should be the first on your left, and the exit should be on the other. And persons using that area should go down the Morris Bishop Highway and come back up.
Okay.
That would lessen, because people coming out from there
and wants to go
and wanting to go across, to me, you're already creating a particular bottleneck of violation in essence of going against the route that the traffic should really go. So that is something I think they can narrow or expand on some areas, mark some of it. I really need some deep consideration. I have some ideas that hopefully when I meet we can sit down and design it, but that is a critical area that really need redesigning and so on. It could reduce as well the amount of police presence there if we have some more obvious reading signs and markings and so on. That's my...
And it leads up to, of course, the drivers on nation roads to use their minds the right way in terms of doing these things.
Use their minds, you said?
Yeah, use that mind. Use their mind, obviously, in local terms.
Yes.
Yeah, use your mind.
Yeah, use it. Yeah.
Use your mind. Think differently.
From my end, in closing, commendations, the Cliff project seems to be coming to an end.
Yes.
However, we will want to make some recommendations there in terms of the parking.
Well, I'm just noticing a contribution from someone on WhatsApp suggesting the same thing. They say it was not even possible yesterday because of the amount of parking.
It's already a one-lane road. It's a new road
because of individuals parking
a one lane for the entire
strip. So, I mean, people who live in that area, when they put their vehicles there, oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it may mean, say, no parking from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. or something.
Or they may have to go back to the road and cut it wider.
Well,
that's another conversation. All right, we got to take a wrap for today's of course. But before we wrap, don't forget there's a bank account number we want to give for the Safer Foundation, and for those of you wanting to contribute to the Safer, of course, in terms of assisting in the signs and so forth.
Yes,
you can use this account and of course make your donations. The account number is 413-001965. I repeat that once again, 413-001965. It's at the cooperative bank. So you can go make your contributions there, and of course, we'll certainly go a whole long way in helping to get signs made and so forth.
And I guess if somebody forget the account number, they could ask for the Asha McIntyre Safety Foundation for Roads.
All right,
they can make a contribution.
And of course,
we're looking for assistance for signage, and we're also looking for assistance maybe from the diaspora. So those things that you call the cat lights, the cat eyes that you can put on corners and on edge of roads and so on, that can give direction to people at night. We are making requests for some of those to enhance some of the areas where people could be at risk, where you don't see the side of the road at night.
All right. And we did mention, of course, if there is cooperative bodies out there that wants to partner with the Safer Foundation, of course, Samak, of course, you could always give them a number that they could get in contact with you folks and have that conversation in terms of partnering, in terms of maybe they want to sponsor signage and so forth. They could probably do that.
Yes, of course.
All right. So, folks, that's what we're going to take a wrap, gentlemen. Thanks once again. As always a healthy conversation. We'll do this again next week once your mighty permits.
Yes.
Time and health and strength, we certainly will be back.
Bless.
Hey, folks, that's where we're going to take a wrap for today. Until, have a good one, folks. That's where we say goodbye.